the right hand goes here, like you put it on your yoni. It's probably best that we don't show that. And then the left hand is just in your heart. And what happens when you do this is automatically it's a connection of positive and negative. Right there. And so a lot of times if I tell women, like at my retreats, we go through my dance zone, which is my dance movement therapy focused on the archetypes and shadows. I tell them to make a triangle and just put it here. And women are weirded out about like touching themselves. Like, and I'm like, it's just women. The men are on the other side. And they're like, can I do that? Like, it's like, it's your body, boo. Like, yes, you can.
Yeah, you better. Cause you want this, I want this. Everybody in this, what should have it? Stop illusions, it's in your hands. Show yourself, reveal it to them. Yeah, you better. Take the time to recognize it. You won't leave me even if you tried it. You're the artist, I'm the mess, and happily be found than you in your hands.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Unlimited with Elisabeth Carson. Today I have a very special guest. Man, we've been trying to get this interview done for so many months.
I was in Miami.
Yes, I know. And we're finally here. We're finally here together. Thank you so much for being on my show, Shakti.
Yes.
I appreciate you.
I'm so happy to be here. I just love like your essence, everything you're bringing to the collective. And I love that you're a boy mom like me. And it's just, it's just so beautiful. There's so many amazing things coming.
Yes. Awesome, Shakti. Well, you know what? Let's dive a little bit into your story because you have a very, very resilient story. So please share, where you kind of come from and like what's happened to you to really drive your purpose today.
Yeah, I think that's such a great, intro. I think everything we do in life is because of where we came from and where we want to go and how we want to contribute to the world. And I think we can all agree that if you're doing something that you don't love, you feel stuck, right? And we've all felt stuck before. And so when you do something that is beyond you, it's like a greater mission, it's a calling, it's a purpose, it's beyond anything you've experienced, then that's when you know that you're on the right path, even if it is bumpy, right? Like
yes.
A little bumpy. So yeah, I'm actually in the process right now of getting this turned into a movie. And I'm kind of like just trying to figure out like how do we do this in the right way, because I want it to be in integrity. But I also had an experience that's very similar to the Epstein, the Diddy stuff, like the elites. And so like names that people would be floored about if they heard. And so my mission now is like, I never wanted to lead with that story. I always wanted to lead with like how I heal. But at the same time, I think it is important to understand like where you came from. So people understand and don't, people are going to judge anyway, you know how that goes, but like they can get it. Like, oh, that's why she's so comfortable talking about these topics that are often so taboo. Right.
Yeah. I think it's very purposeful for people to share their story of how they got to where they're at, because people can relate, and you never know who's been through what and what someone is struggling with. And look at you now, sparkly, shiny, out here on podcasts. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got through something so difficult and you ascended and transcended that pain into your purpose, which I think is the most powerful thing that anybody could do,
being the ultimate alchemist. And like if you read the book, it's such a beautiful book, but like when you're your own alchemist and you can transmute your pain into purpose. And so that's what I did. I had a very intense, I tell my son all the time, I'm like, I don't think you understand like how mommy's life was. I didn't have what you have, where you have people all over the world who love you and you have all these things. I grew up in the foster system, right? I was a product of rape. I came into the most violent way like possible, right? And so when you understand energy, which you do, you understand how that affects your life, especially if you don't have some kind of intervention early on, right? So from that, I went into the Army. or actually I was placed into like a really well-meaning family, but it was a cult. I mean, I grew up in a cult. And so when you think about when you think about like we were isolated from the rest of the world. I grew up in Bangkok, Thailand. So like Put Pasta Thai Dai Mai, like Thailand is like my second home to me.
Uh-huh.
And it's funny because I ended up back there doing my training for tantra, which is it's just like so
Wow.
like very alchemist vibes, right? You know? So so yeah, so very a lot of trauma, you know, my parents that I was placed in the family, they were missionaries, but it was like I always say, you know, it's a cult when it's like they keep out the rest of the world and they keep you from the rest of the world. And
Yeah.
then it's an extreme. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so that's how you know. It's like if you believe what you believe, practice what you practice, love what you love. But when you like in the Bible, it says be in the world, not of the world, but it does
Mhm.
still say be in the world. And
Yeah.
we were not, we were ostracized from it. And that's
Wow.
what you see typically in cults. And the
Uh-huh.
interesting thing is that I also had that, it's all patterns. Now that I see it so very clearly, I had
Yeah.
that same experience with my pimps and being trafficked in the ring
Mm.
isolated me from everyone. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like looking back now and being more like in my body and understanding my healing journey, I see a lot of my patterns that I didn't even know were happening to me because I'm a child.
Yeah.
It's like not fair, but this, I was just, it's like people who are in abusive relationships, right?
Uh-huh.
When they get out of that relationship, what happens? They find themselves in another one, right? Same scenario. So
Yeah.
so yeah, so basically that was my upbringing, just very intense. You know, my parents would leave myself with their 7 children under 12 alone for weeks, you know, just by themselves. And it was their 3 children, myself, and 2 Thai girls. And so like more abuse and trauma happened because I mean, you just can't do that. Like who does that? You know,
Yeah.
we were supposedly helping people, but we didn't have food, you know? So it's very fucked up. It's fuckery, you know?
Yeah.
So I have to laugh about it because it's so intense. If you don't laugh at it, like it'll consume you, right?
Yes, yes. I was actually just talking to my assistant and I was telling them like because I've been through so much stuff in my life, I mean, I literally kind of laugh at my situation right now. And not because it's funny, but because it's like, you know, it's just like my life has been so difficult that it's like you just really have to laugh about it because otherwise you're gonna feel like shit all day.
Yeah,
So
and people don't understand, like, unless you've had a very intense life,
mm-mm.
they don't really understand, right? Like,
Mhm.
they don't know what it's like to be homeless with a newborn, or they don't know what it's like to have loaded guns held to your head and, you know, to be thrown out on the porch in Gladys Knight's neighborhood after you were thrown down a flight of stairs at 2:30 in the morning because you didn't make your quota. Like, the shit that, like, you know, it's like and it's real stuff. It's real like, this really happened to me.
You know what, Shakti, that I see? It's like, okay, so you know, like children, when they grow up in really toxic environments, they literally try to recreate that environment because that is how they received love. That's
Yeah.
how they thought they received love. So subconsciously, the only way that you can receive love is the way that you received love when you were little. So it's like
So tho
you're
that's
recycling these toxic cycles. So what
yeah.
brought you out of it? How did you break your
So
cycle?
so basically, yeah, after I left home and it's very interesting. Again, these are cycles and patterns. This is the theme.
Yeah.
Like I was a ward of the state of Texas until I was 24. Like my pimp literally put me on a plane to go get adopted at 24 years old and then I flew back and went to work that night. Like the craziness, like and imagine you're 24 years old and you know that the state owns you. That like that does something to your brain,
Yeah.
right? To your
Yeah.
like I'm just a property, a piece of I'm just something like a pawn in a system. The system owns me essentially, right? So
Mhm.
then I can't leave home till I'm 18 because I'm a ward of the state. It's not like I could even run away from home like regular people, you know? Because if I ran away, I did try, and then the police come. And it's not like normally where the police come, like they will take you and put you in captivity because you are their property, essentially. So the fuckery of that, it's just, I mean, Elizabeth, it's crazy when you really break it down. So then I left at 18 and I went on this journey. I got accepted into the Air Force but there was no jobs for me because the Air Force is the more coveted like army branch, like army branch.
Mhm.
And so I ended up going into the army and I got injured, and the army was very calculated and just keeping me until, right before I was going to get benefits, and then they discarded me. And so I came out broken, unable to walk. Now my back is messed up. It was just absolutely awful. And that's when I got my picked up by my first pimp. And so from there, it was like a decade of just, moving to Vegas, ironically enough, which is like, it's been very cathartic, sort of doing these shows with Sean and going back to Vegas where I wasn't like being bought, wasn't, having guns held to my head. So that's even been a healing journey. Like every time I'm there, it's like another level, right?
Mhm.
And so after the military and I'm sorry, I got into the whole life, and then in Vegas, you can't, people don't really understand. Like in our group, there's a lot of people in the human trafficking advocate world, like Paul Hutchinson and all these people who are amazing, but they make these movies that are just not really real. And it's like, they're great because I love any movie that brings awareness to this cause. Absolutely. But when you understand, like if you've been trapped in a relationship or in a something, and you feel like you can't get out, even though you can leave, but it's like you can't get out, whether it's financial, whether there's children, whether it's, and I know people feel that way. And
Mhm.
that's what it's like with human trafficking. People are like, well, were you in a cage? And I was like, no, I wasn't in a cage. Like, what are you talking about? Like, just the misconceptions of what it really is.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
and so getting out, like I faced my own death and was able to leave my traffickers, and then that's when I was sent to Thailand to train in tantra and to just heal and spend a year there just studying with my gurus and just learning and teaching and healing, and it was the most intense year of my life because I had to let everything go.
Mhm.
And that's how I got started basically on this journey.
Wow. What type of practices did they have you do in Thailand? And how did you get over there after, like, how did that
Right.
all
Well,
unfold?
that I know. I'm like, that's a whole thing too. But basically, people leave cycles or patterns, but then they literally just go to the next location and the
Yeah.
next relationship and rinse and repeat.
Same until you heal. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So I definitely I did leave my trafficker and I escaped that ring and I moved back to Texas because I'm originally from Texas.
Uh-huh.
And again, still caught in the life. Like, I didn't know anything but stripping. Like, this is all I knew, right? I
Mhm.
knew being a pastor and missionary's daughter and stripping, like the two dichotomy. Like, that was it. Like, I knew sex was sending you to hell and I knew how to sell sex. That was it. It's fucking crazy, right? Like, I tell people all the time, like, I went from God to sex and sex back to God through Tantra. So
Uh-huh.
this guy, and then this is in my TED talk, which when it finally gets pushed out, it'll be great. But, you know, this guy, just God told him to help me. And he was in the strip club in San Antonio and just said, like, told the waitress, I'd never talked to him, I'd never met him, I'd never danced, nothing. He just saw me and said, asked the waitress to go get my number. And it's like, I'm supposed to help her. And so we met. We shared a night where he just told me all his like trauma, like everything he'd experienced sexually, and it was very intense. And he's a very respected Doctors Without Borders oral reconstructive surgeon. Like, he teaches all the Ivy League schools and he's very well. So for him to share this, it was like very vulnerable. And he said, you know what, I can tell that you're not supposed to be doing this. Like, God has a plan for you. And I went to this Tantra retreat in Sedona, and it was the first step to helping me heal this. It's why I was able to share this with you tonight.
Uh-huh.
And he said, I think that this is your calling. I'm not even joking. And I will send you to a school if you find one. And so it was like, I started researching online, and this is back in 2012. I was like, Tantra schools. I mean, I was a yogi. I had been a yogi since I was 18 on and off. And when I got out of the army to try and rehabilitate my back, Bikram, hilarious times. But anyway, so I looked up these schools. I found one in Texas. One in Thailand and one in India. And I was like drawn to India, but Thailand sort of felt like home, because I grew up there.
Yeah.
So I told him, how like I was and back then it was 20,000 back then in 2012 for my training.
Wow.
Yeah, people are like, "Wow, like you charge a lot." I'm like, "You don't understand. Like
That's it. Yeah.
it's a practice." And so he sent me. So imagine I'm living there for a year, so I have to like have money to live while I'm there too. So
Yeah.
I remember like those last few months working in the club, and I just was like praying, like, this has to be it. Like I get emotional thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be back to that feeling, like, hmm. And the new moon in Cancer is like throwing me.
Oh no,
It's
girl, trust me, I've been feeling it all week. Okay.
I'm like, what in the fuck is happening,
Same
sister?
face. It's all right. It's all
Um,
right.
yeah, so I had that. You know how you have that feeling where it's like, this has to be it, right?
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
has to be more. And that's I remember that was like the feeling. And so yeah, going through Thailand was like I so first it was like the first few months was just like hardcore, like not the yoga you'll ever do in a studio. Like the studio's yoga it's not really yoga. It's just like a workout. Like it's great.
Mhm.
It's a great workout. Absolutely. The hot yoga, they put on the music, they make people get in their bodies and feel good. Great. But that's not yoga. I don't
Mhm.
think that people really understand like what yoga is.
Mhm.
You're just sitting in postures for hours, just focusing on energy centers and trying to
Mhm.
build something. And so that was the first few months was just doing the deep work of learning how to. And for most people, this is hard. Like most people who go to my school, it's hard to feel their energy centers.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
someone who's had a lifetime of trauma, it was even more challenging, right? And,
Mhm.
so that part it was hard because it was like I was fighting with my body to be in my body. Like, it's
Yeah,
so
yeah. No, 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 that's exactly what happens because, the trauma makes you leave your body because your body's not safe. Of
yeah,
course. So you have
yeah,
to
so
learn to feel safe in your body so you can feel yourself again. Girl, I've been there.
you're, like, trying to leave. You're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I gotta leave, I gotta leave." So,
Mhm.
that was the first part of it, and then I went to India because a lot of people who know me, they're like, "You don't really do anything," because I really don't. Like, I have my son, and I'm either at home, working, seeing clients, or I'm in another country hosting a luxury tantra retreat, but I'm
Mhm.
never, like, out. I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I'm, like, very just in my lane, and
Mhm.
people are like I'm just like, "I don't wanna be out, I don't wanna get energy, I want this," but they say I'm very brave. I don't consider myself brave, but I guess I am because, like, I went to India alone, which I just at that time, I felt like my teachers were saying, "You need to heal. There's a lot of blocks right now in your life, and we need to clear those. So you need to
Mm.
do this puja before you start the
Wow.
next part of your tantra training." So
Mhm.
I did. I, like, booked a flight, I got a visa,
Wow.
I went to India. This is right before like, it was before iPhones were really like, I mean, no, we had iPhones, but it was like I remember going there and I just had a flip phone because I didn't have service, right? I didn't have international, like I'm a yogi. So I had a flip phone with the name of my Vedic astrologer, and that
Mhm.
was it, and one person from my school, and I was
Uh-huh.
like, "Bro," and then I landed in Delhi, and I was in the longest car ride, like, ever. Like, we went
Mhm.
from New Delhi all the way up to Rishikesh, Haridwar, which is one of the most holy cities in India, and that was a very intense time too because,
I
you're in this car, I'm lying down, I'm already going through so much purification, I'm already sick, I'm just like, this guy's weaving in and out, and it's just crazy. Like it was 8 hours of that. We stopped once at this at this little like gas station, like
Mhm.
a truck stop, if you will, in India. And it was just, I don't know, it was such a vulnerable feeling, but I just
Yeah.
such a faith. I was just so like, God, I want some of that faith right now, really. Like, how do I tap into that faith again, man? That faith, I was like, this is going to help me. And I believed it. And
Mhm.
so for 3 days, I finally got there and got to this beautiful like resort. And they had like, it was just such a juxtaposition from what I'd been through. So it was so nice. And they were so kind. And they took me every day to see the priest. And so I did puja like for 3 days for 8 hours a day. I would just get up, go to the temple, and sit there and say Om Durgaya Namah, Om Durgaya Namah, like literally 8 hours. And then the priest would just do all this stuff around me, walk around me, pray. I'd have to eat these donuts and stuff on the altar, which was nice because I was hungry after 8 hours. And I did that for 3 days. And then finished the puja, went to see my Vedic astrologer, got a reading. Him and his wife took me and fed me, and then flew back to Thailand and finished my training. And that was just the start of the start.
So wait, so what? Okay, did you feel the profound change after India?
I did. I felt, well, they told me, they said, you said, they said your mom was a prostitute in a past life, and you were a madam in a past life. And so this was your karma, this life. I'm like, geez.
Wow.
And they said, and you were a prostitute in this life too. I was like, well, in essence, yeah, I was. I mean, but it just like, it was profound shift because I did feel like the energy lifted off of me. And they basically said, you have a curse on you, so you'll never really get married unless we clear this, and it's going to be hard. So I had to like, they married me to like this tree and this bunch of weird stuff that people don't really understand, but like it was profound. But they said, yeah, this is my calling. You're supposed to teach tantra. You're going to be powerful at doing this. And then I went back to Thailand and started getting into the crazy work, and that's when things obviously progressed.
Wow. Your whole story gave me chills.
In a long time. I haven't told that in a long time. That was really intense, actually.
That's powerful, Shakti. Well, you know what? It's like I've been there, not to the extent, but I danced for 2 years. And when I turned 18, like I immediately went and started stripping. And I stripped for 2 years until I really wanted to pursue my modeling acting career. But I know how the clubs are. I know how they are. And I know how they suck you in. And it's all drugs, alcohol, and just, that energy. It's like, you know what? I always, after that, I would bartend always in strip clubs. You make amazing money. Yeah, no, I bartended all the way until I think I turned like 27, 28 years old inside of the strip clubs because I remember the day I quit. I quit because I saw a little underage, I think she was 17, and she had a fake ID. And I'm sitting there talking to her, giving her drinks. And I'm like, I don't even want to be giving this girl drinks. And she's sitting there snorting heroin. And I'm like, honey, like, and then I walked out and I never went back to work at a strip club again. It was in Michigan.
Okay.
In Detroit.
Wow.
I can't subscribe. I couldn't subscribe anymore. It's like, I don't even want to be supporting this type of lifestyle. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of underage girls in the clubs and
yeah.
Really care. Yeah. They just care that you give them an ID in case they get checked, and they say, well, we have her ID. Do you know what I'm saying? They want young girls because that's what guys want in the club.
Well, of course. And then young, naive girls, because you don't have your boundaries about yourself. You don't even know what it is to be a woman. Yep. You don't know how to create physical boundaries, energetic boundaries. And that's why you know what? My son's dad just told me about a really fun strip club he went to in Florida. All this, it was so much fun. His boy got some top. I'm like, this is so toxic. It's like, please, women, like we have to learn how to have boundaries about ourselves, how to respect our bodies, how to encompass us. Because honestly, my true feeling is that women are so much in pain and misguided and hurting on this planet because we don't even know who we are.
No. And we've been sold something that we were told to like fit into this mold and this for the betterment of like the 1%, the people that are controlling everything. And so what you were saying about talking about strip clubs and all that, I was like, oh man, because here's my honest point of view, Elisabeth. I feel like if you go to strip clubs, if you watch porn, if you pay to play, if you are on the sites like OF and stuff like that, you are a part of human trafficking. You're contributing to it. You're perpetuating it because if there wasn't a demand, there wouldn't be a supply needed. And you say, well, I'm not talking to a girl who's been trafficked. the chances are you are, sweetheart. When I go back and think about all the girls I worked with, now knowing what I know, and I've trained actually at Las Vegas International, I trained their whole airport staff when they opened the new airport. Remember during COVID,
Mhm.
train them on the protocols of what to look for with human trafficking, because people just have in their mind what human trafficking looks like, but they don't understand that, like, we're coached on what to say. Like, I knew what to say to every client. Like, this is what I do. I do real estate on the side. Well, I don't know shit about real estate, like, it's just what they coach us what to say. So the chances of you dealing with someone who has a pimp are very fucking high in the sex work. And the fact that men do it so casually, like, oh yeah, I just went to the strip club. There was a bachelor party. It was so fun. It's like, you are the problem. And if you have a daughter, you should care about this. Even if you don't, I mean, you should care that you're perpetuating, a multi-billion dollar industry that is the top. It goes from 1 to 2, the first or the second largest criminal activity on the planet. And
Mhm.
it's very nuanced. It starts in the clubs.
It's so sad to me, Shakti. That's why I really want to. I need to get in front of these high school women, like
Yes.
young women that just don't know any better. I didn't know any better. I didn't know any. I just wanted to make money.
Best you could, right? You did the best you could with what you were taught.
Look. I mean, I don't regret anything that has happened to me in my life because it's made me, who I am today. But I mean, it's just looking back. It's like if I would have, I just didn't know better. And then so
Yes.
many people around me, they didn't know better. And so many instances and things that have happened to me, I could have avoided by staying out of that life,
If you knew, and if we only knew. And I think that that's what makes my work so powerful, is because I have that very strange dichotomy of, I grew up sexually repressed, and then I grew up sexually exploited on the other hand. And I've seen both paths, and both of them are not it. Like, both
Mhm,
of them, the shame that comes from religious dogma around sex and your first time masturbating and pleasure. It's why we have problems in marriages today. It's why women are not able to climax. Like,
mhm.
women tell me all the time, I post on my stories about me having these 5-10 minute climaxes and me crying during orgasms, and they're like, what? It's just like, because we know like 70% of women only experience clitoral stimulation or clitoral
Mhm,
climaxes. And then there's about, 20 some, close to 30, 20-ish, that don't climax like at all, which
mhm,
leaves under 10% of women like myself. And I don't know your history, but like, the more open people are typically, and the more healing they've done, the more ability they have to
mhm,
open up, because there's
mhm,
11 different forms of climaxes, and women they can't even have one, or barely have a clitoral one, which is the way a man climaxes, which
mhm.
doesn't do anything for them energetically, emotionally, mentally,
Yeah,
spiritually, like nothing. It's just like going and getting, fast food, and then you feel like kind of empty afterwards and still
yeah,
kind of hungry. And that's
yeah,
why, the clitoral climax is the fast food of climaxes. It's just fleeting.
yeah.
And there's more for women. There's so much more. And
Yeah, okay, so I was talking about 9. Let's talk about this right now. So,
okay.
I was taught that there's 9 orgasms that a woman can have, but
Yes.
you said that there's 11.
There's 11. So I think that the difference is, and again, they might be called different things, but I think I see them on, did you write them on there?
I don't
Did you
think I wrote
Right.
them. I think
But
I named them though.
basically they're more in the body. And it starts with, the ones that people know, right? People
Mhm,
know typically. If I ask a group of people, they're like, oh yeah, they know clitoral, and then they'll know G-spot. And
mhm,
those are probably like the main ones people know about, right? But then when I tell them, like, there's so much more, there's like, you're just barely touching the surface, right? A
mhm,
lot of people, and here's the main one that I want people to understand. Obviously, yeah, everyone wants to go for the cervix and the uterine orgasm, both of those, 1 and 2. So oftentimes they're combined, because typically what happens is when you get up into the cervix is like the portal of consciousness into life. So
wow.
I know people like, and then like people put condoms up there, and weird lubes and weird men, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know, Elizabeth, as I've gotten older, like, I'm in my 40s, I like freak out about that thought. I'm like,
These are weird men.
You're dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're putting like, oh my God, I don't know. You know, people are weird. Like, I know we both are. Like, I'm weird about what I put in my body. Very weird.
Mhm,
You
mhm.
know, I'm very particular. But yet, like, and I think I did a show on the or a talk on this where you'll share like people are weirded out about sharing a toothpaste or toothbrush with like a partner, right? Or a husband. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Did you ever do that? Did you ever share?
I think I shared like one time, but I felt like it was nasty. It was like, ew.
Thank you. That's a toothbrush, right? Imagine you're sharing your portal of consciousness to where God lives with a fucking rando, with
Oh,
some
look, I swear I had okay, so yesterday I had Mike Rashid on my podcast, right? And we were
okay.
talking about sex. And he's like, he doesn't understand. And I almost agree. Like, you should wait for marriage to have sex because you don't know the minute that that happens, it
Yeah,
gets confusing, and you don't know if you're intertwined like sexually or if you actually love the person,
yeah.
right? So it's like, and then I feel like as women, it's inside, it's our temple. We can't let everybody up in our temple, you know. Guys, is different, it's outside. Like, I don't think
It's
about that the same,
it's
but
totally different.
it's
It's
our
totally
temple.
it's literally the place where the divine dwells. It's where God like, you're a mom, you made life there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and you literally it
The
like I
energy
said,
that
it's the
creates
gateway of consciousness, it's the portal of consciousness to God. It's the
that.
highest, most feminine, sacred, divine place on the planet. I'm learning there's like so many stem cells. I literally put it on my face
Yeah.
every day now. And Dr. Group told me to get a spray bottle and start spraying it. And I
Wow.
mean, you and I have, you know, we're pigmented, so we have better chances of not getting all the, you know, stuff.
Uh,
But I always say for women, I'm like, look at your neck. Do you see lines? Do you see crepes? Do you see sunspots? And that is the sign that you're aging or you're aging badly. So for
mhm.
me,
I was just looking at your skin. I'm like, damn, girl, your skin is beautiful. Lemuria, the
yeah,
women used to go outside and they would bleed onto the earth, bring their
different.
blood back onto the earth.
Thank
Yes.
you. See, you know about this. Most people don't. That's why I'm like, man, I have to have you on my show and then we have to geek out more. But like most women don't know these things. There's
Mhm.
literally a farm in Northern California that they produce everything from menstrual blood. They grow all their produce. And I do that when my plants are dying. I just take some of my blood. You have to mix it with water because I learned that the hard way. If you put too much, it's like too much life force. It's like overwatering them, you know? So you
Uh,
mix it with blood or mix the blood with water and you know sort of blend it in. I have a copper watering thing, and then you
mhm.
just put it on your plants. And I was growing lettuce on my back porch and stuff too for a while. It's just a lot of work, so I had to kind of let it go. But yeah, I mean, it is life. It's life. And if women want to really like dive deeper into this work, like obviously come work with me. But if you just want to read a book, the enigma of menstruation, you probably will not be able to find it because like most tantric stuff, it's like underground. And even though this isn't tantric, this was a doctor who wrote this back in like the 30s or
Mm,
40s.
mm,
And he just knew that how we were treating women's menstruation and women's sexual health was not it. And so
mhm,
change that. But back to like the 11 forms of climax, if you want to have the most profound experience,
mhm,
which is the cervical uterine climax, because the cervix opens the uterus. And typically when you get to the cervix, if you know how to move the energy, you're going to push it up into the uterus and you literally feel like you died. Like like I was crying,
yeah.
like the other night I was like crying, and that's how my son was born. I tell people all the time, there is like you crazies out there taking birth control. Y'all are crazy. Look at what they're just now showing us about COVID, all
Yeah,
the
yeah,
COVID and all the vaccines, and they're pulling it. I've been preaching on my soapbox for years. Everyone thought I was crazy, and I am probably a little crazy, but I what I was saying was the truth,
yeah,
Elizabeth. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
people are
yeah.
just now like waking up, like what the fuck? But putting birth control in your body, you can do conscious conception. I train women how to do this all the time. I had my son. I know exactly when I had my son. And yeah, I know exactly what happened. I was there. I planned it, even though energetically, I'll say this, I manifested him. God, here, and you know manifestation, Elizabeth.
Uh-huh.
It's always when you fucking don't really want it. You want it, but you don't. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was in Thailand. This is a crazy story. and we'll get back to the climaxes, the fun stuff. I was in Thailand at my training, and one of my lovers was this black, beautiful black man. Oh, he was just a dream. He was at Five Rhythms. Have you heard of Five Rhythms?
Uh-uh.
Oh my God, Five Rhythms dance. Oh my God, it's amazing. And so I teach something like that just for women on our sexual archetypes. So it's like shadow work with dance and tantric practices. It's a blast. And so anyway, Five Rhythms is like this dance modality. Gabrielle Roth is the founder of it. And he was a Five Rhythms teacher. And so I went to his class and I was like, this is fucking amazing. Cause we're surfers. So we like to move and all that. But this was like liberating and my chakras are balanced. I loved it. And so, I started seeing him and we just had this vibe. He was from the UK and he had a son with a Brazilian woman that lived on the island as well. They weren't going to my school, but they were just on the island. And so I started seeing this little boy, and this little boy was like, oh my God. And we have mixed babies and they're just so beautiful, right?
Mhm.
And I just like started, I was in my like early 30s, like 30, 31. And I was like, bro, like I was just feeling it, when your
Mhm.
body is just like I need that, like I want that, right? And
Yeah.
so I started to like, oh my God, like to have a little baby, like a jungle baby like this with the curly dark hair and long, like my son, which is crazy now. And I was like, this is what oh my gosh. But like I wasn't thinking like, because I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna get married and have a kid. It was just like I was like feeling good about it and imagining it and playing with it. Then I go to Malaysia to get my visa renewed. And long story short, without like telling too much of my son's father's, business, or not him, but my son, really, his protection. But I basically manifested this guy and I sort of like chased him. I went after, like my body was telling me, go find this man. And I did. And I
Uh-huh.
went and I like followed them for about 5 minutes. And then they were like, are you following us? And I said, yeah. I am. And they were like, that is so weird. And the one guy like left. They were basketball players. And so anyway, long story short, I manifested him because my power was so strong back then too, because I was doing
Mhm.
so much tantric work and practices, but I wasn't like attached to the outcome, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, that's how you manifest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't manifest, but
Yeah.
it's like when you want to manifest, it doesn't happen because you want it. For me,
Mhm.
it was like a good feeling of like, oh, I see this happening and I feel this and this is so cool. And that's how it happened. And so in the moment that I had him when he was conceived, it was a uterine cervical / move to uterine orgasm.
Wow.
It. I know I felt when his soul came in. I know everything. And so that's
Wow.
why I try to tell women, if you want to get to those deeper climaxes,
Yeah.
you have to learn how your sexual anatomy works and how the energy works, the positive and negative poles. And this is what, like, I have in my book. It's all illustrated. So I show you, trying to find it. I show you how it works so you can understand it. And then I even put the anatomy diagrams in there because women don't really know their body. I'm sure you've understand this from,
Mhm.
like here it is right here. So it's like the
Mhm.
positive and negative poles. And
Mhm.
if you understand that, you understand what needs to be opened for a woman for her to get to those states. And so for women, we have to have our minus pole is here. And
Mhm.
a plus pole is our yoni. And so a man's lingam is also a plus pole. You can't take two positive poles of energy and
Yeah.
expect it to create opening and
Yeah.
for it to unite. So for women, the deepest practice that they can do just alone is to connect with their negative, which is their heart, and
Mhm.
start focusing on moving energy there and show their partner how to do this. And this is what we do in my retreats. I mean, it's so much fun, right? Because we get to show people how to have like a heart climax. Think about having an orgasm in your heart.
Mm.
How much more expansive would that be? Where your heart is just so it's like full of pleasure, but it's also just filled with so much love. Your physical body like can't contain it. So it sort of moves and expands throughout your arms, and then you start feeling this like orbit of love around. And women, we just want to be loved, right? We want to feel seen. We want to be safe. We want to be fiercely protected, provided for, and we want to be loved.
Mhm.
Nothing
Mhm.
wrong with that, right?
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with that. We have this thing now where women are supposed to be like, ugh, 9 to 5 and like making boss bitch. It's like,
I mean,
no.
it's just a little bit out of balance, you know. It's like it was this way, and now it's like this way, and now we gotta get it back
I
this
was
way.
like, how do we find it like right in the middle? Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
exactly. Wow, that is deep. So you said for women to start really putting energy into their heart, and it's crazy that you say that, Shakti, because you know, going through this divorce, it's like I'm trying to keep my heart open, you
Yeah.
know, and it's like when you go through massive pain in life, it's like all you want to do is close up. So it's like every day I have to think about opening. Every day I have to think about living through my heart space. So
Yes.
what do you recommend women to do to get
I got
more into their heart
I
space?
got you. And the next time I'm in Miami, I wanna do some work on you if I
Yeah,
may. And
great.
and then you have to hop on my show. So then
Yeah.
I can talk to you about, this your challenges and your fight for your life, what you're going through. But but yeah, so there's a few things. I always like to give a few options, like some free stuff that you can do, but also there's always women who want the best and who want to be the best and do everything top tier, right? And I think you and I are those women, right? Like we want the best for ourselves, for our bodies, for our sons. And so a really simple thing you can do is just, I know it sounds very like simple, but what the main thing I said is hand to the heart. So I do the right hand here. Let me see if I can sit up. I'm in yoga stuff right now, or workout gear. So it's like the right hand goes here, like you put it on your yoni. It's probably best that we don't show that. And then the left hand is just in your heart. And
Mhm.
what happens when you do this is automatically it's a connection of positive and negative,
Mm.
right? Right there. And so a lot of times if I tell women, like at my retreats, we go through my dance home, which is my um, dance movement therapy focused on the archetypes and shadows. I tell them to make a triangle and just put it here. And women are weirded out about like touching themselves, like, and I'm like, it's just women. The men are on the other side. And they're
Uh-huh.
like, can I do that? Like it's like, it's your body, boo. Like, yes, you can. Yes, you may. So
Mhm.
just right hand on the yoni, left hand on the heart, and just first before you breathe, just feel and see what you feel. A lot of
Mhm.
times women feel nothing, right?
Mhm.
There's nothing there. Take some breaths, send energy there, and those are free things you can do,
Mhm.
and start healing your connection from your yoni to your heart, like what you were talking about.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
conscious. I have mantras that I say with high frequency music, and so I send those to all the women in my group. That says like it goes through the chakras. Like my yoni is this is the portal of consciousness. My body is the living, breathing orgasm. That's like my thing I say every day, which I
Uh-huh.
love that. Like my body is a living, breathing orgasm. Like think of that. That's so amazing. So
Yeah.
that's a thing you can do. Something else, and I recommend you can get them on my site or you can get them anywhere. Yoni eggs. It's such a powerful practice. It really helps for you to get connected to your yoni, not to mention all the benefits it does about tightening the walls, helping you to have less symptomatic periods, helping you, because a lot of women don't understand that
It's a
you got to,
muscle.
it's a muscle.
You have to work it out.
If you never work out your muscle, like if you just do this all the time, and it's not the same as if you put resistance there. So it's the same thing in your body. I know it's funny. Kim and Nami, you just had her on, and she was on. She does not like me, which is funny, just because I did that, because she said I stole that because I used the analogy of using resistance with
Aw.
weights versus yoni eggs. So I don't know. It's so funny because I was on Human Garage. They love me. And it's just like, she even put me on her page and said plagiarism of the week. I was like actually grateful because she has a bigger account. So it's like pretty, I was like, thank you for the love. But I don't really understand why she doesn't like me. And the funny thing is, Elizabeth, I used to send her clients all the time, because I would be like, I do teach this, but I was like, if you want to know the mecca of this is like her whole brand, go to
Uh-huh.
Kim. She'll check out her stuff. So it was kind of funny. But
Aw.
anyway, like I'm not sweating. It is what it is. But the yoni egg practice is a very good practice to start just cultivating the connection to your yoni, period. And
Uh-huh.
start feeling good. And then the crystals, you understand about crystals, the stones are charged with energy. So you're putting rose quartz in your yoni. Imagine the feelings of love and selflessness and forgiveness and surrender and receptivity. It's all going inside of you. Also, a yoni wand. That's something different. The yoni wands are different than like a vibrator. So I don't believe in vibrators. I think that they should only be used for anal if that's your thing. Because first of all, vibrators are made with extremely toxic materials. Second
Mhm.
of all, they are desensitizing women. Women already have a challenge climaxing anyways.
Yeah.
Now we have these men who are men are lasting 3 to 5 minutes on average, then they can't compete with some jackrabbit that's doing, all these crazy things. And then women get dependent on that kind of climax and they won't have a regular one with their actual partner or spouse.
Right.
So the yoni wands are really healing too, because you can go.
Yes, it's like crystal dildos. That's what the midwife life Amanda, Dr. Amanda Hansen. I had her on and she said she loves crystal dildos for women.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. So I call them yoni wands, but crystal dildos, whatever. Yes. So
Mhm.
those are amazing. There's all different kinds and shapes, and I can muscle test you to see like what your what energy stone resonates with you. That's what I do at my retreats. I have women hold them up and then I tell them yes, no, maybe so. So
Mhm.
like I should buy this crystal. I should buy that one. And those are great practices to stay open. Also just yoni massage. If this is something I teach. This is very extreme and very rare. Do not get this with anyone. Don't just look up yoni massage because it could be some kind of predator. But this is a work where you go in and map the yoni and pull the trauma out and release it. And
And they
that's
people do that. There's places you can go to get
no,
that.
no. There's not places, but there's practitioners. Like I
Okay.
mean, maybe there is, but that would be a little sketch. But like myself, and most of the time, the practitioners are actually men, which is also kind of interesting. But I've had two amazing practitioners that I worked with. One that I went to school with, who's amazing human being. Love him. I've had him on my mastermind multiple times. He's phenomenal. But this is something I teach, and I like to empower people to do it. So
Mhm.
I teach men to do this to their women, or how to sort of do a version of it for yourself, which it is a little more challenging.
Mhm.
But these are all amazing things that you can do to stay open. If your yoni is open, your heart's open. And that's why sex is so intense for us. Like you said, if you have these insane climaxes with men, or just even the emotional oxytocin release that's happened when you're embraced or when you're kissing for longer than 6 seconds, or you're holding and you are having sex, it's confusing. And for women, our hearts open, we want love. And then
Mhm.
the man, it's like that was just sex for him, right?
Mhm.
It's I'm sure you've heard from other women and things, like it's confusing. And you were saying like you should wait for marriage or monogamy, or someone who's committed to, if marriage isn't in the cards and that's not what you believe, at least someone who's committed to you.
Yes.
Um, because once you start having like, especially if you're learning tantra and you're practicing tantric lovemaking, like it's just so intense because it's like physical, energetic, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And if you have that kind of intimacy in sex, tantric lovemaking with someone, and then they're not really your like Shiva, and they're not really your one and only, and it's very challenging to sever those ties because you're dealing with the holistic person now. And
Right.
most people have sex and it's just physical, maybe a
Yeah.
smidge of emotion, but they're
Uh-huh.
not involving the energy bodies. They're not involving the mental, the spiritual, the causal bodies, all those bodies.
Mhm.
While you're having sex or being highly intimate with someone, that is a recipe to make someone go a little crazy. I'm not even joking. And we were warned in their schools to never use this for manipulation or harm, which by the way, some men do. I'm sure
Mm.
some women do too somewhere. I mean, I would never do that, but
So what is the difference between regular sex and tantric sex?
great question. Amazing question. I love that. I don't think I've actually ever been asked that, and that's a really good question. The thing with regular sex is it's typically like outcome oriented, right?
Mhm.
And the outcome is what? Ejaculation for men, basically, which is not the same as a climax. What
Mhm.
men don't realize is their ejaculation is separate from their orgasm, but
Yeah.
most people will never train that, so it doesn't
Mhm.
really matter, but just so
Mhm.
you know, that is the case.
Yes.
And then so it is outcome based, and that is basically the outcome. Now, if women are fortunate, they might get a little smidge of the pie. They might get some oral or they might get some fingering, which by the way, most men do not know what they're doing. They just jab stuff in there like it's a video
Uh-huh.
game, poke
Uh,
away. It's
uh-huh.
like, no, like, what are you doing? Like, this is where God lives. At least let me show you like how to do this with reverence.
Yeah, yeah.
Less is more, guys. Same thing, like less is more. But
Mhm.
so that is regular sex. It's outcome oriented. It's about the man ejaculating and the woman supposedly somehow being a part of this journey in some very small way, right?
Uh-huh.
Uh, and it's physical. It's really physical.
Yeah.
If you've been married, obviously over time there's an emotional connection that
Mhm.
binds you, right? But that's it. And that's physical sex. And it's also fleeting. It's very up and then very down. And it's supposed to bring you together. But I think most sex in most households, if I had like some goggles to look in, some like a new like AI set of like the Apple things I could see into, I would guarantee you that 90% of the sex being had is void of intimacy.
Uh-huh.
That's what I truly believe, that it's
Yeah.
just physical. It's two adults using their bodies as giant masturbation tools to get
Yes.
one person off, and the other person, the woman, typically rolls over because the man's already sleeping or smoking or doing something, and she's empty, right? And
Yeah.
she's just wanting more because she wasn't open, and I put this on my story the other day. I said, "You can penetrate her, you can open her without penetration." And that's the message, like, women, we wanna be open so bad, it's like it's just, like, in us to move that energy, like,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's our divine right. So, the difference between that and tantric sex is all about the ultimate union. That's literally the definition, and that's why in
Mhm.
my book, it's called The Ultimate Union, because it's about the divine masculine, aka Shiva, connecting with the divine feminine, and this is what you create. Now, if I showed you this picture, would you believe that this is my partner, my lover?
Mm. Really? Would I
Well,
yeah, them, yes,
of
yes.
course. Would
Uh-huh.
you believe that we are very sexually intimate and that we have what if I told you I've never once had sex with this man?
Wow.
And that is the power of Tantra. That is
Mm.
the power of the uniting of the divine masculine, the divine feminine, in divine masculine presence, divine feminine essence. Those together creates the union. So Tantra is it's a holistic, I always say it's a holistic personal development, spiritual biohacking path to union.
Uh-huh.
There's so much to it. It involves a myriad of things. Sexual Tantra is only 5%. I believe I'm one of the only really well-known tantra masters that teaches the other side. Most teachers are focusing on orgasms and pleasure and this and that and the other, but I teach the intimacy, that picture. I want people to have this because sex is fleeting and it's done and it's over, and women are often left empty and unfed and unnourished and unloved. And men will just go off and find the next thing,
Uh-huh.
right? I
Yes.
want to teach that lasting. That's why it's called, my retreats are called intimacy mastery,
Mhm.
not sexual tantra or white or whatever, no. And all
Mhm.
those things are good. Like,
Mhm.
let me ask you this question. If I were to tell you, like, for instance, when I'm sitting in that posture, it's called yab yum. I know you have to go
Mhm.
here in minutes, but that posture is more nourishing to me than any of the 11 forms of climax that there are.
Wow, really?
Yes,
Really?
yes. I will sit, well, like with this guy Joel, we would sit in it for like 45 minutes. And they
Uh-huh.
say when you sit in that posture for long enough, you eventually you go on to you'll like go on. You'll go on and go off. You'll go to higher states of consciousness like you took ayahuasca or something, because you're breathing, you're moving the energy through through the chakras back and forth, and it's the ultimate union of Shiva Shakti, and you can't help but transcend the physical. So tantric sex is about uniting the physical, the energy, which is a huge part of it, the energy bodies, that's what I teach, the mental, the emotional and the spiritual into one. So now lovemaking becomes it's not an outcome, it's a journey.
Mm.
And a journey where both the feminine is worshiped and adored and the
Mhm.
masculine is honored, respected, and his presence is coveted. And that's what we need today. We need a revolution of men being needed and women being in awe of their presence and opening so beautifully that the men actually like worship them because they're like, wow, without this woman, like I wouldn't be able to do this, I wouldn't be able to do that. And when your orgasms take you to God consciousness and open you to God,
Uh-huh.
that's the message, right? That's the
Boom.
message.
Girl, I talk about this all the time. People are like, you can't meet God. I'm like, yes, you can meet God. You can meet
Yeah.
God. A lot of women too. They meet God. Shakti, where can people find you? Where can people find you?
I'm living for this. I'm living for this so much. Oh, you can find me on Instagram is probably the easiest. Shakti Living, JG for Jennelle Gordon, and there you'll find my website, my book, my retreat supply. We're going to Bali in September. We'd love to have you join us. And
Really? I
oh,
was
it's
going
fun,
to Bali in September. That's crazy.
love it. Dr. Group is coming. Him and his wife are coming.
Wow.
Yeah, we would love to have you. We
Yeah, I might
love
do
to
that. 'Cause
have
I literally was gonna go to Bali in September.
Are
I was
you really? Yeah.
Yes, I just did an interview yesterday, and I said it on the interview yesterday. One of my girlfriends lives over there, so
Oh,
and
does she really?
one of my like boys lives over there too. Everybody's in Bali. I'm
Yeah,
like,
a
I
lot of
need
people
to
are
go.
going there. This is my
Yeah,
first year going to Bali. We do them all over, but this was my first time, and I just said, you know what, we're doing it. We got this beautiful villa. We have, it's
amazing.
amazing, and everything is a sensory experience. So it's like 5 days, 4 nights of the most exhilarating experience of your life. We love to take. We want people to go deep. That's our motto. We want to take.
Yes, I
We want to
love
open
that.
you and all the good stuff. So, oh my God, I would love to have you. It'd be so fun.
I know. I'll hit you up about it. I'm gonna figure out my plans
Yeah,
soon, but
WhatsApp me or message me. What's the best way to reach you? Is it
uh,
WhatsApp?
probably WhatsApp. Probably WhatsApp.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
yeah. I don't
you're
really check Instagram.
like modeling and doing it, but I definitely want to have you on mine for sure.
Yes, I would love to. I would love to, Shakti. And this was an amazing conversation. You have an amazing story. You're doing amazing work. How
Thank you.
you transcended all your stuff into this great, amazing work to try to help women is freaking amazing. So I honor what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Yes, it's an honor to be here. I just love being with feminine women who just have a mission and want to help others heal. It's
Yes,
inspiring.
yes, it
Yeah.
is. It is. Well, thank you. I'm so glad we got this done finally.
Whew.
Yeah.
Yay.
All right. Until next time, guys. This was another Unlimited with Elisabeth Carson. Peace, 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 and love.
This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are those of the hosts and guests and don't necessarily reflect those of the producers or affiliates. We do not guarantee the accuracy of the content. Please verify information and seek professional advice when needed. By listening, you agree not to hold us liable for any actions taken based on this content. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope you enjoy the episodes ahead.
Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you enjoyed this episode, I invite you to stay on this journey with me. There is so much more ahead. Courses, mentoring, healing circles, retreats, safe spaces to heal and grow. Make sure you subscribe, follow, and stay connected. We are not alone. In this journey, we're on it together.